So hi Queen, how you doing? I really hope that you're taking care of your mental health as you should. Come on. So I filmed this video probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and then this happened. So I don't know. I'm really sorry if you get like triggered by this kind of things like fencements. I don't know how to say this in English. I think this is like a French word. Anyways, but if you are triggered by these kind of things, just skip ahead. Um, but I just really thought it's gonna be weird if I'm gonna be like waving my hand like just like that, and you're just gonna be seeing this and like, what is that? So I'm just gonna explain this. So I just really got a finger infection. This is like so random to be honest. It was like some powerful bacteria that really just got to the cells of my finger and they beat the shit out of my finger cells, girl. I'm telling you, girl. She messed up. She made a whole fucking party girl and she literally didn't clean up any shit there. And so I got to undergo a surgery so that I will be able to just get the hell out of the bacteria so that she can go and live with rent in somewhere else. So yeah, that's pretty much what happened. I've been really recovering from this for like the last 2 weeks, and right now it doesn't really hurt as much. But oh my gosh, girl, the amount of pain I had to undergo through the last 3 weeks, it was, comment se dit, hell. Thank you for asking. I was literally dying, the whole time. So I wasn't really able to make YouTube video. As I really mentioned in the first part, these films really went with me through the most mental instabilities when I was really not really feeling fine, and they were really such a good escapism. And so yeah, if your life is fucked up and you really would love to escape into films, then they are really great. The very first moment that I actually Googled about this movie, I was looking for philosophical movies because I was kind of interested in them and I really wanted to see some of them represented into movies. And I found about the Truman Show. And when I actually started to watch it, I didn't have any clue about what is going on. But I promise you, just keep on watching it because it will all make sense later on. It actually questions more about like the meaning of life and how we are probably in a stimulation and the meaning of God and humans and all of this kind of like relation, I guess. And it's really interesting, I guess, at the end as well. Oh my god, the end. The end, I didn't know what to expect. It was very much like shady, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna leave it to the producers to expect what to expect. I'm just gonna be here and keep on watching about what's gonna be happening. And it didn't really disappoint. I really loved it. And I think that there is a clip of it that is kind of like viral. It's like good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Something like that he says. Anyways, the next movie that I really would love to talk about, which is the Shawshank, I don't know how to spell this, Shawshank Redemption. So this is quite popular, but it still is definitely very beautiful, and it basically tells about the story of this prisoner, this man that is, I guess like he was like a lawyer or like an accountant or something like that, and he actually got into jail by mistake, I believe. And it actually tells about how his mission to get out of the prison, but also in his time of the prison, about all the improvements that he made over there. It's basically more about a story of not giving up, and although like as much cheesy and probably toxic positivity it is, but I don't know, I really liked it. It didn't really come out as like that, to be honest, over there, but it was quite inspiring to see that. I think that it was actually based on a true story, and it was just really amazing to see his story like in those very limiting conditions about how much he was able to do and his mentality. Oh my God. Wow. He's on a whole other level of mentality, I can tell you that. And I really appreciated it, and it was really fun to watch it. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna lie. So this is more about dark academia aesthetic, but also it has a spice of French Revolution. And I am really obsessed with France, to be honest. I like the culture, I like the paintings, and especially I like the history, to be honest. There is a vibe to France of like romanticism that I really like and I really appreciate so much. And this movie perfectly captured it. It actually I don't know, I feel like there is something in the French culture, more of like nihilism and some sort of way, and I really, really like it. And there is like the philosophy of like French and stuff. I like it. I like the French vibe so much. Basically tells about all of these like three young adults in a house together and them being interested in the French Revolution and in movies and kind of being intellectual as well. There are many quite of like explicit scenes over there, but it's definitely very interesting and it's just really beautiful to see it, to be honest. Although, like, I think that it's all more about the vibe. I liked it so much because it definitely transported me into a whole other vibe and definitely didn't know that I even needed, and I am whole here for it. So I hope that you got a glance about what it is about. I cannot say exactly what it is about because there isn't like a specific like moral or like a storyline to it. It just really feels like living, existing kind of thing, and a vibe, to aesthetic to it. That's pretty much it. So this movie is definitely Dark Academia as well. And I don't know if you know it, but it's quite popular in the Dark Academia kind of like niche. And this is based on a true story as well. There is kind of like gay dilemma in it, I would say. And it basically tells about these students that are studying in university and their experiences in university and this kind of like love hate story that is between two of the main characters in the movie and how it's gonna be leading out later on. I must say that the storyline is kind of like edgy a little bit, I would say. And again, it really just has and pictures very, very well the kind of like student in a boarding school kind of like vibe. Well, it's not a school, but like university, but it's still like kind of like boarding. They can actually like go and stay there, I guess, in university or something. And it really just pictures very, very well this kind of like dark academia student vibe with like the costumes and the literature and the very intellectual kind of vibe. I love it. I really, really love it. And I feel like, to be honest, it definitely tells so much about internalized homophobia and closeted people and the whole dynamics about that very toxic relationship. So this movie, I think that my sister picked it up for me or something. I don't know from where I saw it, but it was really, really beautiful, and it actually tells about the life story of Forrest Gump. His name is Forrest Gump, from childhood until like his adulthood later on, and so there is a big chunk of his life that is represented. But of course, they're not gonna be represent like every single like scene of his life because in all of a human's life, there is of course like boring scenes, though they just really focus on the milestones. I really think that what definitely captured my attention very well is the story of Forrest Gump. I think that he is a very, very unique, exceptional character in all meaning. His life story is pretty interesting. It's pretty basic, but it's pretty interesting as well. And just the character, I never really think that I saw people like that in real life, or if I really even saw them, they would probably be like strangers on like a bus station or whatever that I don't know anything about, but they really just give me like an interesting vibe, and then a movie is made about them. This is the kind of thing. It's like not everyday life person you would meet, but this kind of like person that you would say, oh, this kind of like weirdo over there sitting out. Like I don't really understand them, you know? It's kind of like really just tell the story of that weirdo in some sort of way, which I really, really appreciate and like it. It has been quite like over a year that I watched it, so I don't remember very well the scenes and stuff. But as in the words of Maya Angelou says, people do not remember what you said or what you think, but they remember about how you made them feel. And I am applying this to movies. I loved it, to be honest, and I really think that I love all of these movies that show up the story of like a human from the beginning to the end because again it really makes me feel very, very nostalgic, and I really think that this goes very, very well with the whole like movie aesthetic. So this movie, to be honest, I found it randomly. I was starting to get obsessed with A24 movies. I find them always really interesting. There are quite few popular ones, and I watched a couple of one to be honest of them. And I feel like there is a common vibe to all of A24 movies, with a very, very interesting plot idea. B, they actually show them like in a very raw kind of like thing, like the characters and the plot. Like many times, the whole conversation between characters doesn't really sound calculated. It sounds like more raw and everything. And many times, they actually perfect pretty well the awkwardness in conversations and that silence where there is literally pretty much nothing, but they really just give you a time to focus on like that silence and the whole cinematography of it. They are really, really well tuned in cinematography as well. And I just really found them on a whole other level of movies. And so I really just started to binge watch some of them. And one of the very, very good movies that I watched, which is American Honey. So this movie, it would probably not look like any movie that you watched before. I can safely very much say that it is very, very exceptional. It actually tells about this mom uh, that is like in her 20s, I guess, or something like that. I think that she actually got pregnant when she was a teen. And actually, it actually tells about her going with this group of people to sell magazines, stamps, or something like that to people, like in kind of like a road trip. Like they really just go together and really just sell people stuff. And the people over there are very interesting and kind of like mysterious and weird. And she actually kind of like fell in love with someone from there in like this group, and he was kind of interesting character, I must say, as well. And her, and many times I actually watch the movie and I actually like see it, and I am like questioning like what the actual fuck is going on over here. Like sometimes they do stuff that is like very like weird and absurd, and I don't know what it's like. And I really, really love that. I ain't gonna lie, to be honest. It feels like true life, to be honest, because many times stuff that really happen and you're like, what the actual fuck? And then later on, only you realize, oh yeah, there is a reason for everything. And although like probably don't really show up the reason for that, but I just love that absurdity of the movie, the silence, as I said, the conversations, the stares, and like the body language, especially how they communicate into it. I really love it, and I remember very well. I was like on my toes, like thrilled to see stuff, and yeah, I think that it doesn't really have like a precise plot or like setting in like time or whatever, but it definitely has a very, very interesting road trip vibe. So usually I don't really watch like horror movies because I don't understand the point of people sitting up during 2 hours on their butt just to be terrified. I don't get it. I don't understand it. Like, if you all can explain to me this, I don't really get it, to be honest. And probably I will get that some people really feel thrilled about this. They just want to feel something. They want to feel something. But to be honest, I just don't. I don't like to be terrified. I don't like to be having nightmares later on. You know what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact that I'm gonna be having nightmares about all of these people. And although whenever that I try to, go with the flow and really watch horror movies because it's kind of cool, and I remember and then try to remind myself that this is just a movie, nothing really in real life. I'm sorry, I just get on keeping nightmares, and it just really messes up with my head. So we're not gonna do that. But this movie, I didn't know from the beginning that it is kind of a horror movie. It's not like very, well, it's kind of a horror movie. It is the movie that you would probably not say like it's like the genre of horror, but there are things that are quite terrifying in the movie that will freak you out. So basically, this is about a woman, one young woman that is in her 20s that meets this old lady, and they kind of at the beginning become friends and everything like that. But then the 20 something girl actually ghosts this old woman later on, and then this old woman had really, really hard feelings. I swear to you, she got it hardcore. I'm telling you, girl. As if like this is the only friend that's gonna be left in her life. Now that I have flashbacks about the things that she did, oh my god, this woman is a psychopath. Someone did her really, really wrong in the past. You cannot tell me otherwise. She is deeply traumatized. She needs to go to therapy. There is so much wounds that she is dealing with and trauma, and she is a danger to society. I'm telling you, girl. But I still really liked it because it was very interesting, to be honest. And I don't know, I kind of like these kind of like stalker kind of films or like storylines. They are really interesting, and they really just I feel like this is something that can be applicable to someone in real life, and it always kind of like freaks me out. But at the same time, I would love to know what's gonna happen. Because just really imagine, I mean, there is definitely people out there that are stalkers. How do I know? Because I kind of had to deal with a couple of them, and second, because I watch a lot of murder crime mysteries, so I know real life ones. So there are definitely people that are stalkers and they will go that far, you know? And oh my god, I'm shaking. I'm scared. Anyways, this is what I'm talking about from the beginning. I take it way too far. But yeah, it's still really an interesting movie. If you really would love to get terrified, if you really would love to see horror movies, you should definitely watch um, Greta. Anyways, to sum up this movie. Anyways, to sum up this whole video, thank you so much for actually watching my video until the end. I really hope that from part 1 and part 2, if you didn't watch it already, come on, I'm gonna get mad. I really hope that you actually got some really, really good underrated James movies recommendations. It was really, really so much fun actually making this like list of movies. And right now, finally, whenever that someone actually asks me what are your favorite movies, I can tell them like, huh, part 1, part 2. Period. Go and watch. Do not ask me anymore. Yeah. See you in the next one. Okay, this is weird. This is straight kind of feeling. Bye, beat. Bye.